So, this was a video that I was not planning on doing. To be honest, yeah, I'm kind of still in shock from the situation, but we're gonna talk about it today because I have a lot to tell you guys. So, today I made a decision that I knew was wrong, that I've been told not to make, and I did it anyway. Have you done that? Like where you made a decision, you have been warned before not to make that decision, you make the decision anyway, and then when you have to face the consequences of that decision, you just feel the shame and the guilt of the decision. And so, as you've seen in the title of this video, today we are going to talk about when we do things that defile the temple of the Holy Spirit that God has given us. And how we learn to forgive ourselves from that is going to be a second video, because I believe that that is a different process as I'm still going through with this new situation, but I've been through that with other kinds of situations. And so, yeah, today, guys, I made a decision that the result was really embarrassing. I had been told not to do it several times by my mom, and I did it anyway. And I know you guys are probably like, Diamond, why are you being such a hardhead? I don't know. I need a lot of help. God is still working on me. And this is just a page where I'm sharing the journey of that, goods and bads, spiritual birthdays, and videos like this. But I'm being honest with you guys because I really want this to be able to help somebody. Well, I'll just say this. When we defile our own temple, whether that's actually like having sex outside of marriage, whether that's watching pornography, whether that's doing something you were told not to do that has circumstances like that, on a basic level, let me just say this: disobedience has consequences. And for me personally in my life, specifically the past few years, I have really had a problem trusting God, and it's been a really big struggle because as believers we're supposed to trust God, we're supposed to rely on God, we're supposed to look to God for everything that we need. And I knew, like my mom has been saying my whole life, like God is our source, he protects us, he keeps us and all that stuff, and I knew it like by the book, like I knew like this is what God does, but I never fully believed it for my own, and I somehow put that power and authority as in like I do this, I do that, and it created a really big pride issue. And God has really been working with me and on me about removing that and realizing that like I don't do anything on my own. I don't breathe on my own. God gives me breath. I don't, you know what I mean? None of these things that we do on the day-to-day basis, we don't do any of those things on our own. The things that we do on our own are the choices that we make. The things we physically do, we don't make the opportunities and the doors that open, but we do the choices that we make, the yes or no's. That is something that God has given us. That is the gift of choice, and that is something that we've been given. What we do with that, what we choose to do with our temple, what we choose to do with our body, what we choose to think on our mind, what we choose to focus on, that is all up to us. Guys, I made a really big mistake today, and I'm absolutely embarrassed and kind of mortified from it. I should have listened. That's all I gotta say is I should have listened. This decision, I was warned about. Like, I was warned about it and I did it anyway. And I just feel so stupid when excuse my language, when I look back on it. But like, ultimately, I'm choosing to allow this moment to be my moment of change. Changing tracks, changing position. Because I've really been struggling with having a humble heart before God and sitting before God honestly and saying, hey God, this is like what's been going on. I don't know why I'm having a problem, like fully submitting and like giving everything to you, giving my full heart to you. But I wanted to be able to fully surrender to God because my mom's relationship with God and her full surrendered heart and posture is beautiful. And I just wanted to have that. I wanted to have the experience where when you talk about the goodness and faithfulness of God, you cry and you know, and because you're so thankful and you're grateful for that. But every time I would almost get annoyed. And I knew that God was good and I knew that God is faithful and I knew all that, but it still would just like kind of just like mess with me a little bit. I was like, okay, something's not right with my heart. Because I shouldn't get a hard heart when talking about the goodness and faithfulness of God. It's like I was feeling like the thanks and praise was going to the wrong place. And that is something that God had to work on me for. But back to the point, when we make decisions and when we disobey God, And God wants us to honor and obey our parents. And I did not obey my parent, which is not obeying God. And so that the choice that I made is something that I know we normally say like I have to live with, but that is what I actually want to talk about today, because I don't believe that we should be living with that. That causes a lot of guilt and shame, and it sits there, and then you stop yourself from being free and living the purpose and plan that God has for you. God has given me a purpose and a plan, and he has revealed it and given it to me, and I've known it for years now. But I've just realized I've been running to the wrong things to try to, like, when I get angry or when I get mad or when something happens, instead of running to God. And God has been open arms to me, calling my name this whole time. And what was I just running to all these other things, asking them to fill me, begging for peace, when I was running to the chaos itself? It was so draining. And so if you have made a decision, whether it was just straight disobedience, whether it was self-defilement, I don't really know what that could be for you. I'm going to be open and honest. I'm going to be open and honest. Oh my gosh. I am going to be open and honest with you, excuse me, and say that I messed up. I did. And I know what happened, and I am aware, and I'm using this moment to turn away from that. And I know that sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. I've struggled with that for a really long time because it's so hard. It's easy for me to forgive other people because I want relationship with people, but with myself, I don't even really like being home by myself. Like, if I'm going to be completely honest, it just feels lonely. Like, I know God is there, but it feels lonely, and I'm stuck with my thoughts, and being stuck with my thoughts is not always a good thing, especially when I've been entertaining things that are not good. And it's just this constant trap, and it leaves you so trapped, and it makes you feel so stuck. But if you're going through that, I want to tell you, it's time that we like pick up our mat and walk. When you fully surrender it to God, and he heals you from that, and he says that he's forgiven you. If God has forgiven you, you need to forgive yourself, period. The creator of all heaven and earth and all of us, the one who thought of us in existence and knew us before the foundation of the world, says that he forgives you for the decision that you've made. No matter how bad, literally no matter how bad, then you should forgive yourself, because he's greater than you and he forgave you. And so you should choose to forgive yourself. And I can't make you choose to forgive yourself, but I can say this. You not forgiving yourself is literally just wasting your breath and your time. And time is not refundable. It is not exchangeable. You cannot get a reimbursement of time. We are only given a certain amount of allotted time here on earth. And so we should want to use it wisely. We should want to honor and glorify God with it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come on here and say that while I was feeling some really real raw emotions. I haven't really cried on this vlog in a really long time, or on this channel. And I just wanted to share that. If you've messed up, it's time that we forgive ourselves. And in the next video, I'm going to talk to you guys about the steps of forgiving yourself and that mental process. And more importantly, it's not even a really mental process. It's a spiritual process and a surrendering. And it has humility, and it has destruction of pride and everything inside of it. And so if you want to see that video, then please stay tuned. It'll probably be out within the next few days. But yeah, if you've messed up, stay tuned, because we're going to talk about all of this. But know that you can be forgiven, and you should forgive yourself. If you've asked God for forgiveness, if you've humbly come before him and surrendered to God, and he says he forgives you, because in his word it says he forgives you, washes it in the sea of forgetfulness, which was always my favorite thing as a kid. Oh, God doesn't remember that I did that. But just because God doesn't remember that you did that, or God forgave you, or your parents forgave you, or your friend forgave you, or whoever, that doesn't mean that you should go back and do it again. Like, we need to move on. And so, yeah, before this video ends, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to join the family. This doesn't even feel right to say. And so I'm gonna stop, but yeah, hit the bell for post notifications if you want to see the next video, because in the next video, I'm going to talk about what it is to forgive yourself. When you've messed up, when you've defiled your temple, when you've done something that you knew was wrong, and how you deal with that. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends. Stay tuned for part 2.